So you start with how much you value yourself. Well, I think I'm an emperor. I think I'm a millionaire. I think I'm a billionaire. Great. So what have you got to offer? Well, I can wash your dishes. Okay. How much is that worth? I don't know. What skills do you have? You will need to develop the skills that somebody else might be interested in paying you what you believe you are worth. Right? But you have time to develop those skills. To develop the skills, you have to have the skills, and you have to have the wiring for it as well. If you look at all the other resorts on the beach, they have access to the same cement, the same wood, the same hardware store, the same as everybody else. They have access to the same stores, the same food, the same everything. We're using this place, these ways, in a way that allows us to have people be very happy, feel they've gotten more than their money's worth at 1,000 euros a day to stay here. We start at 1,000 euros a day to stay here, all inclusive. Food, massages, unlimited coaching, starts at 1,000 euros a day, 10 days. People who come here who are at a level to do that are highly appreciative, and they're like, well, that's really worth it. It's worth it. For them. They're used to a certain standard, and we provide that standard for them. We use the same ingredients that everybody else has. We have access. I don't have any magic wand. I don't have a special secret supplier of anything special. It's the same waves, the same sun, the same dirt, the same. Well, we've invested over €1 million into this place. In electricity, in art, in gardens, in infrastructure, right? Invested a lot, paid a lot, create space like this. So that people come here and feel comfortable. They like staying in our places. They enjoy the quality of the food. Right? It's pretty much closed and private to themselves, right? Next door, they have access to the same resources. Barcelona, the same family owns all the land here and owns everything. It's just been partitioned. We're just doing it in a more creative way. Now, the operating system that you have now, are you beginning to recognize that it has some limitations?
I'm already thinking, yeah, but you can teach how to be present, but I'm not present, so I have to learn it first.
Yeah, but guess what? Guess what you can do once you learn how to do it? Like, do you know how to ride a bicycle?
Yeah.
Can you teach somebody? Could you teach Nampu how to ride a bicycle?
So.
Do you know that you will have to fall, and that you'll have to get back on the bicycle? Are you aware of that, right?
Yeah.
But you can teach her how to ride a bicycle. You can teach her how to ride a bicycle,
Yeah.
right? You can teach her how to count her toes. Can you teach her how basic math? Can you teach her how to read? Because you can read, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you can awaken yourself, the only way you know that you can awaken yourself is because you know you can show somebody else how they're putting themselves to sleep. Your operating system is putting you to sleep. It's keeping you asleep. You haven't paid any attention to your breath. You're better at the yawning today. I've taught both of you. You haven't, but you have. You've stifled a couple. It's okay, but you're right. So, and you're going to learn.
I only did it in the afternoon. In the morning, I didn't yawn. As soon as I felt coming up, I set it straight and started breathing.
You start breathing, and you'll be able to feel it before you even feel that part, right? So you're becoming more and more aware, right?
Yeah.
But your operating system did not allow you to even consider thinking about how you breathe. You know, like, oh well, no, but you did yoga and you've learned some things, but you haven't learned other things, right? You've made money, you've worked your entire life, but have you given thought to it at this level, at this depth? It hasn't occurred to you. Right? So whatever you're doing, everything that you're doing is limited by your operating system. So what if you were to go around and look at your operating system and start fine-tuning it and seeing where the limitations are, and then slowly taking time, investing in yourself and writing in a new better code, a new script, creating better apps for yourself and how you function, right? One day you will be able to have an operating system which is empowering in all aspects, that allows you to recognize the patterns of abundance of everything that there is around. And you'll be able to share with other people with how to do that. Whatever you do will have a certain quality. quality with a capital Q. So you may find some new way of doing something that's never been done before with the skills that you have. All the skills that you have now, plus everything you're just going to add in, will integrate and synthesize with what you're doing now. And if you know yourself, know what you did to get there, you find value in this for yourself, you will find people that you will attract at that level that will be interested. We had to invest $1 million into this place to upgrade it for people that are used to a minimal standard to feel comfortable staying here, because otherwise they get an old bungalow with an old mattress and with a small, tight, dirty kitchen and with a diesel generator that makes noise and sparks and stinks, and with muddy pathways and with whatever scrub brush is growing. And people are paying 250 baht a day to stay here. We came here. We paid for the right to lease this place and to use it. We had zero money. We started cleaning, and we enough to fill the refrigerator. We filled it up, and people started coming. And we went from 250 baht to 2,000 baht, 3,000 baht a day. We started at 3,000 baht a day. 100 a day. From 10 a day, because if you paid 250, you had to eat here. So people were paying, backpackers and partiers were paying $10 a day to stay here. We cleaned it up, and we opened it $100 a day. We made 50K in a year. We invested all that in and went into solar power. We invested $1 million baht, $30,000 into going solar. And the next client that came in saw us and said, "You invested how much here on this beach in this economy? I'll pay you $500,000 to take care of me here." And we stayed for 6 months at paid 100 a day in advance for 6 months, and then coaching fees that started at 250 euros an hour and moved up to 2,000 euros an hour. He upgraded himself. I gave him the option: "Okay, you're here. Would you like to stay here, or would you like to go up?" "I'll go up to the next option, please." "Okay, it starts at 2,000 euros. Would you like to start from here, or would you like to make it retroactive from the day you started?" "Retroactive from the day I started." "There's the bank account, transfer the money." Start. But we created facilities that allowed that. As soon as we created those facilities, we had that amount. We're like, okay, we got to upgrade. So we tore the place down and rebuilt it and figured it. And now we get clients that go through people like JT Fox or Anthony Robbins in their programs, and they're like, "Wow, this place is actually even nicer than Tony's. And it's solar, and he hasn't gone solar. And plus, you got to pay more, and you don't get the content. You're getting the place plus the content. It's a deal." 10,000 for 9 days. And I created these multi-level currency channeling programs, 1-figure, 2-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure programs, is because currency is an idea, it's a thought. So the thoughts that can be provoked or triggered by having €1 in your pocket are less than the thoughts that can be provoked by having €10 in your pocket. 100, access to 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million, a billion. There's a lot of thoughts going on.
It's the whole mindset.
It's a whole mindset, and it's how much energy and how many thoughts and what potential, what you can do with that money. All of that is going to go through, and mind starts buzzing. As soon as a little money comes in, it starts buzzing. In order for me to be able to receive $1 million without having a buzz out, is because I stayed at 0 for long enough that when 100 came in, it would start buzzing, and then I'd get used to it, and then 1,000 would come in, it would start buzzing, and then 10,000, and then 50,000, and 100,000, and 500,000, and $1 million. Oh yes, it's going to grow. Each time you do yoga, you stretch a little more, right? So the first time it hurts. The first time you do yoga hurts. When you try to touch your toes, if you haven't done it in 20 years, it hurts. Right? And then you warm up after a couple of days, and each time you can go a little further and further. So you just go incrementally. But wherever you're comfortable at now is where you're already comfortable at. So you can start there and you can stay there. It makes no difference to me. The question is, would you like to grow? I'm saying you can grow up to 10 times at a time.
And how long does it take them to get there at the 10? Wow, words. How long does it take then to reach the tenfold?
It's going to depend on you and how you invest and how seriously you take it. See, if you show up and you're a billionaire and you say to me, and you don't tell me, and you say, I'm going to do your $1 million program, and you invest $1 million into the program, you're using 0.1% of your resources. You're cheapening yourself. You're not going to grow. You're going to stay small. But if you're making 10,000 euros and you put in 1,000 euros, 100 euros, it's a lot of money for you. It's a lot more money for you, right? If you jump in with your last 100 euros, that's all you've got, and you're just going to jump in and give 100. You're going at 100%. Something happens at 100% that doesn't happen anywhere else. Right? So you figure out what level of commitment you have towards yourself. I chose to, early on in life, invest in myself. And I chose to put everything I have into it in creating a better quality experience for myself. I paid my way through college and university and grad school. I took out student loans that I later then paid off. I went to different courses. I chose to get a pilot's license. I chose to certify myself in yoga and this and that and massage. I chose to invest in myself. Okay? And I chose to take the last bit of money that I had and go down to zero intentionally because I wanted to experience what it would like to be like a seed of grass that just lands somewhere with nothing, and to see if I could thrive. And that's what I'm doing right now. We started this from zero. I was 100,000 in debt when we started this. All of our debts are paid off, and we are up and growing. You've been closed to the public. You're the first. You're like the second or third, like new people that come in that we've allowed in the last 2 years, because we've been busy working on ourselves and growing and creating new programs. And we don't need anyone. I don't have to ever have to work again. This is fun. I created the financial freedom so that I can work with people at all levels, and I don't have to say, well, I'm only $1 million coach, like some people say. Doesn't matter who you are, you're sitting across from me, you're a human being looking to empower yourself to your peak potential. Well, if you start at 1, that's great. If you start at $1 million, that's great too. Wherever you are, start wherever you are. Right? Does that make sense? That's up to you. That's your choice. So, how much is it going to take you? How fast are you going to jump? How committed are you? If you commit 100% of everything you're going to receive to grow nonstop, and you get that this is the direction you want to go in, then you will keep putting everything you've got at the best that you can. And when you've got millions coming in, you'll invest millions. And when you've got hundreds coming in, you'll just invest those hundreds. That's it. And then more will come, and then it'll come and go, and it'll come and go, and it'll start to build and rise and grow. And then what you will be able to share from this experience, well, you'll be able to share with people throughout that entire range. We've been doing R&D, we've been researching and studying people at different levels, because if someone like JT or Anthony or Tony or any of their peers or groups are interested, I now have a program, a location, and a space for them. And if they're not, that's okay. Somebody else is. There's always somebody who's interested. And if not, it empowers me every day I'm here. I live in a place. Also, the other thing is that John and I, we decided, well, if we're going to charge $1,000 a day for somebody to stay in our place, then we should live on $1,000 a day and see what it feels like and what it does for us. And it was so empowering. It's so empowering. We're like, well, I'm paying. That's what I pay to be able to keep myself fully present, fully tuned, right? If I'm a Formula One race car, I'm going to pay billions to have the best pit team, the pit crew that's going to take care of me, right? The 2 women that are learning to be managers here, they're our personal massage therapists. I have an on-call massage therapist so I can get the body work And I train them on what body work I like so that they can give me the body work that I need, that allows me to completely pour myself into you, have this experience, talk to you, be fully present, to be able to deal with the other projects that I'm doing, and manage everything else that I have to do. It's easier when I can get a good massage, a spa in my own home, eating the best quality foods, and stuff like that. But it's really easy. I wake up whenever I want to wake up. I go to sleep whenever I want to go to sleep. I play all day with my little girl if I want to. And I still have access to all the resources that I need. I don't have to compete with someone saying, I only sleep 2 hours a day. I play for at least 2 hours a day with my little girl. For me, that's worth more. Rather than I'm single and hard up, but I work 20 hours a day and I'm going to make billions. So, should you choose to do this work, you're going to start going into the rabbit hole, right? You're going to start learning how to work on yourself. You're going to start having these mini Satori experiences. You need to know that, as with every birth, rebirth type of experience, you are going to have moments of just being just a pure canvas. You're going to immediately start imprinting and absorbing the quality of your surroundings. Right? Does that make sense? So if you are in a place that is appropriate for what you need in order to thrive, at 1, 10, 100, 1,000, a million, it makes no difference to me. It's what you need. Then that's what you have to determine, what that budget is going to be in order to do that. If you are 1,000 a day, then you need to find a place that's 1,000 a day. Now, wherever you are, you're going to imprint that. So if you are 10 a day and you can afford 100 a day, go for 100 a day. If you're 100 and you can afford 500, go for 500. As soon as you're beginning to consistently have these little, I'm waking up present and relaxed, remember, you're anchoring and imprinting in that environment as the most comfortable place to be in. I happened to accidentally have this experience while staying in a serviced executive suite with 2 bedrooms, an office, a kitchen overlooking Silom Park on a 100,000 baht a month budget. So I imprinted that quality, that service, right? So that's my default. If you put me in the middle of nowhere, I can find it. We came here to this island with 100,000 baht. That's about 3,000, a little under $3,000 or euros. When we were in Chiang Mai, and we chose to leave Chiang Mai. I'll tell you that story later. But the important thing is that we showed up and we had 100,000 baht. We came to this island intuitively. We knew to come to this island. And we found a place to stay that felt right and appropriate for a few days so we could scout the island. And we wanted to stay here, but it was too complicated because of the weather, the shopping, the distance, and boats, this, that, and all. So we scouted around the island. We found 2 places that were ideal for us, two menu options. One was a beautiful little house in the middle of the island, surrounded by trees, and there was a little pond and pretty gardens, and it was nice. It was fine, and we could live there, 100,000 baht. We could stretch that out to 12 months, eating very simple foods and staying very relaxed, and then using a bicycle or renting a motorbike once in a while to go into town and do some shopping. So we had 12 months. We could purchase 12 months of time to just arrive, scout the place out, and do what we needed to. And we looked at many, many other places, and the other place that was the next best option for us was a little beautiful little wooden house, also with a kitchen, a bedroom and a kitchen, and a beautiful deck on a semi-private beach in a beautiful place in Hing Kong, in Sritano on the other side. And we could stay there and eat the best quality foods and have a higher quality of life for 3 months. So we chose that. And we just lived there for 3 months, and we used 100,000 baht in 3 months, and just woke up when we needed to wake up and fine-tuned ourselves and did our yoga and turned into King Kong to protect the small monkeys from the guy, right? That story that happened there, and would walk out and watch the sunset from the water every day. And on the last week that we were there, we purchased. We'd already paid for our rent for the end of that month, for the 3 months. We purchased the food that we needed to, and we were at zero. And somebody approached us and said, "You have something that I want. You have a peace, you have a quiet, there's something about you, will you teach me?" And I said, "I'm happy to, but I need to pay for rent and I need to pay for food. So if you wish to give me the money that I need to pay for my rent and buy some food, and you're welcome to come and eat it with us, then you can come and I'll do this program with you and share it with you. Otherwise, I gotta go get a job at the 7-Eleven or something like that because I gotta figure it out. Like somehow it's not, I have to be able to." He says, "No, okay, how much is it?" So we did a calculation, and this much for rent, and this for a month, and this much for food, and we said it's gonna be this much. And it wasn't like a crazy over budget type of thing. And the guy said, "Okay, let's try." And he paid for a week, and then paid for another week, and paid for another week, and then somebody met him and was interested and came, and then they paid for another week, and they paid for another month. And before you know it, 3 months later, we're still in business, and now we have net 5,000 euros. Because an Irish man who was a coach and a therapist valued his time at 100 euros an hour and chose to pay for 100 hours, 50 hours of coaching. So now we're in business. We've been for 6 months in the same place. Our 100,000 baht investment has turned into 200,000 baht surplus. We've lived there for 6 months. We've already worked with a few people, and we know we've got something good. So we scouted around, looked around, and this place was available to take over the lease for 6 months and buy the rights to use it with everything that was there, including all the trash and the diesel and some beer and some cheap whiskey and shit like that. And that was 5,000 euros. So we handed over $5,000. So we handed over $5,000, and the difference between the $5,000 and the 5,000 euros paid for cleaning supplies and food that we needed, a little bit of paint and varnish to start fixing the place up. We fixed it up, and somebody contacted us and said, "I'm interested in what you're doing." So they came, and we asked them to give a donation, and they paid like $50 a day for a couple of weeks, and that we put that money back in, and 6 months later, we opened up, and within 2 weeks, we were full with everyone we needed and all the clients we needed to make 50K for the first year. Just worked its way up. Right? So what you do with the resources that you have to learn to fine-tune your intuition and calibrate your radar, your compass to you, your comfort level, the amount of money that you have, and what are you going to do with it? You have this amount of money. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to spread it out over a year? Are you going to give yourself a solid 1 month, full-on intensive, right? 2 months, 3 months? What do you need? I don't know. I have no way of knowing. I can only tell you what works for me and what works for us, what works for both of us. Does that make sense? So you can do the same. There's nothing special about what we're doing. We're just tuning into ourselves and seeing what feels right, what allows us to stay in our deepest meditative, I want to get up and dance type of, right? Like I know I'm going in the right direction. I just start dancing all by myself. She jumps on me and starts kissing me and biting me and tickling me. I know we're in the right direction. That's how I know that, right, I'm on track. Does that make sense? So you can figure out what works for you. You have to figure that out. So over the next week or so, right, you're going to, all of these thoughts and ideas are going to go around in your head, and they're going to trigger your emotions and sentiments and feelings and values and ideals and all that kind of stuff, right? And from that, then something will filter out, and we can meet again afterwards, and you can tell me where you feel, like where you're at. Or we don't have to ever meet again, and you can continue on your journey. All the best, and you can figure out what you need, right? Like it's all good, right? Does that make sense? And if you're interested in entering the next phase, then you're going to have to determine if the highest monetary, if you want to move up, right? If you're going to start climbing, then you start taking the biggest steps that you can. Not so big that you're going to fall over and hurt yourself, but not too small that it's going to take forever and forever and forever. When we were in our research phase looking for mentors and coaches for money, we met with Bellum Tang. Master Bellum was Robert Kiyosaki's business partner for 30 years, and he passed away this last year. He was Rich Dad Asia, and he gave a series of talks and seminars in Phnom Penh. We flew to Cambodia and stayed at the better hotels and did the whole thing, invested in ourselves. And he taught us how to play cash flow. We really went into the whole Rich Dad, Robert Kiyosaki's. Oh, we'll discuss that also. Yeah. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, why that's important. And I, at one point, it was open for questions, and I stood up and I said, Master Bellum, I have a question for you. If you were to walk out of this room with nothing, I mean, just the clothes you're wearing, your watch maybe, that's it, nothing, right? Enough money to 50, whatever's in your wallet right now. How long would it take you to make $1 million? Without blinking an eye, he looked at me and said, 3 months. And I thought to myself, 3 months. You can do it in 3 months? I can do it in 3 months. Anybody can do it. If anybody can do it, it can be done. Like, it can be done. It's not like, how fast can you, how long can you hold your breath? 6 hours. No, I can't hold my breath 6 hours. I can't hold my breath more than 3 minutes. But if he had said 30 seconds, I would have said, I could do that, right? So it's like 3 months, I can do that. So we finished the program. I said it might take me some time, but I can get to the point where I can make $1 million in 3 months. 6 months later, I signed my first $1 million. So I wrote him an email saying, thank you so much. He had us write a contract with ourselves, how long it would take before we made $1 million. And I said I would make $1 million within a year, before the end of the year. 6 months later, the first $1 million came through, and I wrote him a thank you letter saying, yes, what you did works, this is how I did it, and here's a copy of my before bank balance, my bank book before and after. You can do it. It's a question of just, do you have the right script for it? Right? I did start doing this 20 years ago. I started investing in myself 30 years ago. So
yeah, I've already been doing it.
It builds. So how long is it going to take you? I don't know. And also, how much are you going to jump? If we'd gone to spend 12 months, we would not have met the person that would have gotten us that option. If we chose to use those 5,000 to stay where we were and not come here, we would not have met the people that walked in off the beach that allowed us to generate 200 million baht of profit from 200,000 baht investment.
Yeah.
Okay, that is not an insignificant return on your investment. Having an ROI of 100,000% in 3 years is better than anybody has done. And I have enough that I don't have to work ever, and I can play with my little girl, and I can sit and have as many. You see, we speak till late. Like if nobody else was around and nobody else was going, we kept going. I would just keep talking. As I'm saying, I know a seed of grass can land in a patch of dirt and next to a dead slug, and that's enough to grow, and then it can grow. I also know that there are types of a type of Chinese bamboo that the spore, the seed lands, it grows, and a little shoot comes out, and it's a little green shoot about this big. And it stays that way for 5 years. And during those 5 years, it's creating an underground network of roots and systems, and then one day it's big enough and something happens and it starts to grow, and it grows a foot a day for the next 50 days, and it turns into a 50-foot grove of bamboo. Some things just take time to incubate, and you just have to invest in yourself, and all you need is a little antenna to catch a little bit of cash. Right? If you can set yourself up so that for the next 3 to 5 years you can have your cash flow so that you can work on yourself and find places and fine-tune and all of that, that's an option for you. Maybe that's your option. At the end of that, then you might decide to sell everything and then go and jump and do something else. Or keep that and start something else. Only you can know. You have to be self-referential. I can't tell you what to do. I could just say, sky's the limit.
Yeah, but you also work on your intuition, so after the 3 months you...
Well, that's how you're doing it. Well, when you clear out your emotional baggage and the majority of the nonsense that you keep repeating in your mind, the songs and the tunes and the limiting thoughts and beliefs and all of that, and you get rid of those, suddenly your intuition has a chance to shine through because it's there. You're just blocking it out. That's the problem. Right? So, quick note, and we'll break for lunch. Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki's. It's a textbook for this course and for learning about money. Short summary: he grows up with 2 parental figures: his parental dad and his best friend's father. One is a go by the book, educate yourself, society, do things the way you're supposed to, get credentials and certifications, get a job with a union contract and a retirement plan. And the other was just a go with the flow, be an entrepreneur, figure out what you need to thrive. His father died. His parental father died a poor man. His adopted was a rich man. So he calls his book Rich Dad Poor Dad. He compares and contrasts the types of thoughts that we have in our minds. Poor people have thoughts that keep them poor. Rich people have thoughts that help them get rich. Reading that book, you can identify what kind of thoughts you have that create your financial situation. Each and every poor thought you have is a poor thought that is, well, it's manifesting itself in the information age, where currency is a thought. So if you have a bad thought about money, you're basically putting up a firewall saying, I don't want that. People over there that think that I'm evil because I charge $1,000 a day, they're going to stay poor. But you know what? If I charge $1,000 a day to you and you're not ready, that's not very nice. So I don't charge you anything. You come here, you tell me what it's worth, and you figure it out. I don't care. But if you are a high-end entrepreneur, if you want to manage hundreds of thousands and millions and have if I don't charge you $1,000 a day, if I give it to you for free or for $100, I'm cheating you too. I can't charge you less than that. But they won't get it. They simply won't get it. They won't appreciate it. They will not accept it. Their ego, their mind will not acknowledge that what I have to offer is more valuable than what they're doing. See, you're happy to sit here all day. I'm significantly wealthier and more empowered than you are. So you're like, okay, well, yeah, I'd like to. I want to make millions. And I want to have a beautiful family. I too, right? Like you want that, right? But if you already had billions, right? It might not be so interesting to you. So I'd have to charge you billions before I go, I'll work with you, but my time is worth more than your time. Right? When I finished up my hypnotherapy and NLP mastery courses, I have advanced master credentials and all of that. My teachers realized I have something to offer they don't have. So they said, we'd love to hire you. 3 of my teachers, of my master instructors, hired me to work on them. And they said, how much are you going to charge me? I said, $1 more than you would charge me. Because I got something you don't got. And I'm being nice at $1 more because I got something you're never going to figure out. I can charge you 100 times and you still won't figure it out. Right? So my matching you or matching somebody else is being very kind and very generous. Yeah. Because you can't do it any other way. Right? Because when you start going into this world, you're going to see how tricky your mind is. It's going to start coming up with all sorts of stories. You're going to need someone to slap you. You're basically going to pay me to slap you awake. Otherwise, why would I bother? I mean, I can say everything is all shanti shanti, and we're all very happy. Just chant more, right?
It's a good impression.
And you will be, right? And you can do it your own way, and everything is okay, and just accept everything the way it is. Right? Yes, you are awake. No, you're not awake yet, but you're almost there. Keep waiting. Wait. Focus on the light. The light from my crown chakra will pierce your pineal gland, right? You say, pay me and I'll tell you where you're wrong. Why pay you? Because if you don't pay me, you're not going to listen to it. How much? Enough for it to hurt. What hurts you is the fact that you have to pay me to slap you. Tell you, no, you're dead asleep, sister, brother. That's not a way. Right? Does that make sense? Then you are willingly choosing to ask for the support. Right? In a traditional Zen school, I would just beat you with my bamboo staff. You'd show up thinking you're awake, and I just hit you. I can't do that effectively today, but I can hit you with a fine. Right? So you show up and you're not quite there yet, I'll show you that you're not there yet, and you'll accept it by paying the fine. Right? Does that make sense? Right? And my higher end clients, I charge them by the minute. Because they make so much money by the minute that's right? Does that make sense? So your complexities, your challenges will be what they are.
And hopefully I have to pay you one time by the minute.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
So
awesome.
you work your way up. But start with what you have, and you'll start to feel more confident and more resourceful, and that might attract higher end clients or inspire you to do more abundance generating or channeling, right? Activities, right? And then you can start working your way up. Because I'm in no hurry. I already have a lot. Right? Does that make sense? That's how you work your way up. But you have to be able to accept what I have to say to you. So if you perceive that you have more, you're not going to listen. Right? Just like I refuse to engage in a conversation about my health with a doctor that smokes, drinks, is obese, is unhealthy, has bad skin. Like, you're a doctor, you're going to tell me how to be healthy? You look like shit? Like, you're not my doctor. Right? I've had to say that to a few doctors. I'm like, no, not you. Why? Look at you. If you looked in the mirror later, you call yourself a physician and a doctor, and you want to charge me money to tell me how to be healthy? You look like shit. I'm healthier than you. You should pay me for this. As a matter of fact, let me give you a bill right now for this awakening. That's not my doctor. Right? You're not my coach, you're not my therapist, unless you can teach me or coach me something I don't have, in which case I will pay you more. Because what you have is valuable to me. Right? Does that make sense? I needed to learn what I needed to learn from Anthony Robbins and the Platinum Partnership and that whole team. So we invested several $100,000 to do so, and it was worth it. To find out I've got something worth much more than he is. Of a master, an awakened master in India, who never kept anything. He lived with zero. He had a blanket and a bowl, and one day somebody came and tried to steal something from him, and he just gave him the blanket and the bowl. Like, he just did not worry about anything. He always got whatever he needed, whatever he was happy to. And his disciples would come to him and say, you should ask for money. You really should ask for money. Why should I ask for money? I don't need it. Well, we could build that orphanage. Because why don't you go to the emperor, to Akbar the emperor, and you ask him for money. He'll pay you. He'd be happy to see you. And then you can use that money for the orphanage. It's not even for you. You can give it to somebody else. So the master thought about it and said, okay, I'm going to go visit the emperor, Akbar the emperor, and see if he's willing to invest in this orphanage that we're going to do for these kids, because we need it. So he goes to go visit Akbar the emperor, and he comes into the room, and Akbar is praying to God, God, please send me more money. I need more millions. Please send me more money. And the master hears that, turns around and starts to tiptoe and get out of the room. And at that moment, the emperor turns around and sees him. He says, you, the master, I've been waiting for you to visit. What can I give you? How can I help you? What do you need? And the master said, I'm so sorry. I've made such a mistake. Please forgive me. I did not realize you were so poor that you have to pray to God to ask for millions. I don't need anything from you. I can go to the village people, the poor people. Everyone has an extra nickel or a dime or an extra dollar they can share. I'm not going to ask you for anything. You're so poor that you have to pray to God for more money. I'm not going to take anything. It doesn't matter how many billions you have. I don't want anything from you. You're too poor. You're not rich enough. Keep all your money. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can collect money and bring it to you. Right? Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? So, it's an energy. It's an energy field. You have to decide how you're going to dance with that energy so that it wants to play with you, how it wants to come back to you.
No, I definitely believe it's energy.
And I definitely do not take money that doesn't belong to me. If there's any doubt as to whether I owe you or you owe me, I give it to you. when the person that I considered my best friend and business partner stole $500,000 from me, I thought, well, maybe he needs it more than I do. Maybe he's right. Maybe I don't deserve it. Maybe I didn't keep up my my share of the promise, or maybe he's just a lost fool, and he needs it more than I do. I have enough. I certainly don't fight over abundance, and I had enough to go on my journey. Later, it turns out that if I'd had that money, I would have never hit zero at the place and time when I did, and I would have missed all the lessons that allowed me to make 10 times more, 100 times faster, right? And it happened just as I was getting ready to go on my grand adventure and leave everything behind, and I trusted him to take care of a business deal, and he sold everything, and he kept all the money, and he emptied out the bank accounts. And I had enough to go on my business, to go on this adventure that got me to here. And I looked deep, deep into myself, and my little voice was, we have enough. We're not going to fight over abundance, right? That's just not the thing to do. That's his problem, not our problem.
Story moment.
Makes sense? It's not my problem. If you steal from me, it's your problem. It's not my problem. As a matter of fact, I will use it as an opportunity to look you in the eyes and say, what I told him is, you're a very lost, damaged person that you need to steal from a friend. This much when there is enough. Like, it was plenty, we both could have shared it. But if you're that lost and you're that broken that you need it, up to you. Walk away like that. Plus, I was going to launch myself on a grand adventure, and I realized I'm not going to spend 5 minutes of the rest of my life thinking about the lawyers, the attorneys, coming back, fighting for this person, getting my money back, which I could have legally fought back for. But then I wouldn't have been able to let go and go on my adventure, and I had enough. And I had just enough to grind to a halting start at zero in the middle of nowhere, and well, I'll figure it out myself. And boom, here I am. So I had to write him back later saying, you know what, thank you for being the thief that you are. I learned what I needed to learn. If you learn what you need to learn, good for you. And if it takes you 20 years, up to you. But I wasn't going to compromise myself over abundance or something that I don't need. So, does that make sense? And that's part of because it just feels right. I'm the one that has to feel right. So whatever feels right for me. And I told him, and I said to him, I'm going to really look into this. I'm going to go off. I feel right just letting you do this. It's not my problem. As a matter of fact, do you want to pick my pockets too while you're at it? You need more money? Are you that lost, desperate, and poor? I can give you a little more money if you need. It's like I entered this with a smile, and I'm leaving this with a smile, and I have abundance, and I had a great experience here, and I learned more here than money can pay for, so good luck to you. But, however, if it turns out that you are going the right way, and that this is the way to be, I'll give it some thought. If it feels right for me, maybe I'll turn into a backstabbing, gunning thief like you, and I'll rape and murder and pillage and plunder, and maybe that's why I'm here, and that's what I'm supposed to be. But until that happens, I'm just going to do whatever allows me to fall asleep the most peacefully and wake up the most relaxed, and right? And whatever allows you to live your life in the most peaceful, empowered, blissful, growing manner, only you can feel that. You can't think it through. Some people think that by chasing after hundreds and millions and sacrificing your sleep so you can make more money, you can't pay me enough to lose my sleep. An hour, 2 hours, but every day? 2, 3 hours, 5 hours a day of less sleep so that I can make something that isn't even existentially real, and I already have enough to do whatever I want anyway? It doesn't make any sense. It's just crazy to me, right? That's sick and crazy. So everyone has to figure that out for themselves.
Can I then check with you, because I want to figure everything out for myself, because what you know is that I booked a one-way ticket to spend as much time as I need to be here.
Yeah.
So definitely go for the 3 months option. That sense.
Right.
But then I don't know exactly how my situation is because it varies.
That's right. So that's your situation, and that's what you know. And I don't need to just keep track of it. Just follow it. Let it resolve itself. Yeah. I don't need anything from you.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one thing I require, that you actually really be fully interested and invested in what I have to say. If this is not interesting or boring, then just say, thank you, I've heard enough, and just walk away. I don't even need a hug. I don't care. If you're figuring yourself out, that's what you're doing. You don't know what your financial situation is going to be. You don't know what your financial situation is going to be. Just be clear about it. If you pretend to know, well, I can do this or I can do that, or it's going to be this much, right? So you get a ballpark figure so that you can guarantee that you can do it, and then it turns out to be more, but then you already said, like, I'm only going to give you 10, and then you keep the difference. You're compromising yourself. You're not compromising me.
Yeah.
The best answer that you can give when you don't know is, I don't know right now. Can I figure it out? Yeah, sure. But if this is the direction you want to go in, then start thinking differently. Instead of, oh, why am I spending so much on this or that? It's like, I'm investing everything I've got that I can per month, continuously, consistently, to get as much as I can out of it. That's your highest, that's your best investment in yourself. None of that needs to come to me.
Yeah.
It makes no difference to me.
So in that sense, that I'm already like more investing in the hut I'm staying, the bungalow I'm staying in right now.
That's good. That's good for you. That's your investment.
Yeah.
If tomorrow you start making 10 times more money, then start paying me or get a place that's 10 times more expensive. I'm okay with either one because one of them would be a better option for you. Later, when you're a self-made multimillionaire and this worked for you and you want to help co-create something that will help others, well, I don't know. My guess is that you'll go find the people that have most helped you and then you'll come share your abundance, right? Yeah. Up to you. And it doesn't matter where you're doing it, as long as, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, let's say, here it is, we're in the dark, in the confusion, in the storm. And I managed to light a little candle. And now I've got a little fire, a little warmth. I can heat up a tiny little cup of tea, and we can keep it a little bit warm. You come by, right? And you say, hey, can I use your fire to light my fire? And I go, sure, because it doesn't take anything away from my fire. So you bring your little candle next to mine, and your candle lights. Now, am I going to charge you for that? My goal is to bring more lights to the darkness.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Am I going to blow your candle out so that my candle gets brighter? It doesn't make any sense. Now, if you want to put your candle next to mine, like Jantra did, we want to share resources, both of those candles together join to make a brighter flame, a stronger flame. Right? You've ever brought two candles together? The flames. Right? That's what we're doing. That's fine. But she wants to walk off on her own. Well, maybe over there you need more light. But over there you'll find somebody else, and I can go this way. So I light my little candle, and it works. And she comes, and she lights her little candle, and together we do that. And then this one comes and lights her little candle. Right? And then you come, and you're like, wow, that's really cool what you're doing. Go ahead. The only thing I can tell you is that it's really difficult, it's messy, it's dirty, it's a pain to try to light a soggy candle. So if you're drunk, if you're always stoned, if you're poisoning yourself on a regular basis, dry out your wick, clean out your candle, get it ready, right? And then bring it over so you can just light it and then go do whatever you have to do. Right? Does that make sense? That's my only requirement is don't bring a soggy candle, just dry it out first so that you can just come and light and then go do whatever you have to do. If later you want to go build a bonfire together, we'll go gather wood. Right? We're going to build a center in Peru. I could have places all around the world where people can come and learn how to grow. And that's going to require a lot more money. So if you come across any amount of money that you want to invest in helping do this, well, then go ahead. Like, do it yourself, or ask me how I did it, and I'll give you the recipe. Or say, what are you working on that I can invest in? What can we partner in? What can we co-create? Say, I'm opening a center in Peru. I need 10 million. I've already got 2 million, and any other million that can come, bring it along. Right? Even 100 would make a difference.
Do you need 1 million?
There is no limit to the amount of money that can go back into creating solar power and clean energy and organic food and community and resources, right? There's no limit to that. There's no limit. So what can be done from zero with a few thousand dollars? This we can multiply several million. What can I do with $1 million? Well, I can do something significantly bigger. What can I do with 10 million? I can do even more. Right? Does that make sense? Here, the way that this works, I can work with 3 people, or a couple, or a small family on site. What I want to build in Peru, I want to be able to have at least 10 people at that level that can come, at least 20 people that are, instead of 1,000 a day, 100 a day. On an organic farm where they can learn how to farm and harvest natural energies and learn how to work and learn how to create a system like that so they can go off and do something else. I can't do that here because of the limited space. I could try to buy the places next door or other places here on the island. I've looked at it, but the entire area is headed towards a crash, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to a place that already crashed, is already standing up.
Is this place going to crash? Do you think?
So Asia's going to crash horrifically. So I think you've got something eating your other arm. Right? Right? Does that make sense? So,
Beautiful visions. That centers around the world.
sure.
Empowering people to empower people.
Why not? But see, the thing is that I'm right now. I'm creating this. I'm not going to at this stage in life go to zero, start with a few $1,000s, and redo this again somewhere else. There's little resorts like this all around the world. You could. If you learn how, you can go do it yourself. That's why this is a training school, so that if you want to do that, you can learn how to do that. Right? However, with what I have, I can go and start something that's the next level. It's an order of magnitude. Instead of working with 3 people, I can work with 30 people. 10, 50 people. I can work with bigger people. I can work with people at different levels. I can build houses that are worth $10,000 a day and bungalows that are $1,000 a day. I want to make hobbit houses with gardens and herbs and flowers and fruits and vegetables all around everywhere else. Wouldn't that be nice to have a couple of hectares of land where you have beautiful little dwellings that are at different levels for people who are accustomed or require different. Right? The orchids require certain type of nutrients and conditions. The lotuses require lots of sticky mud, and stinky, smelly, yucky stuff. The grass just grows all by itself, right? The bougainvilleas, when it's rainy, they grow with no flowers, and as soon as the drought comes, they explode into flowers. Right? Everyone's a little bit different. So being able to create centers and facilities in interesting places around the world is sure. Costa Rica can do something in Costa Rica. Anyway. That's what makes a difference for me. That makes my world a better world to live in. As far as this world is concerned, well, I was able to, at age 40, let go of everything, including let people steal from me, friends steal from me, take a little bit, go off, hit zero, and generate more than I've ever made, and have more fun. Find my soulmate. Like life's good. Life's okay. Life's good. What would be better? Thousands of people that are figuring it out on their own terms. Wouldn't that make a better world? Make a much better world. Instead of people just chasing after money, or just chasing after poverty, or just chasing after some dream, why not just work with reality and make the best of it? Right? You can do that. It's available to you. So I like long-term investments. I'm not concerned. If you can thrive, then that makes my world a better place. And thriving means that you can generate enough abundance to help a lot of people learn how to make a lot of abundance. That's thriving for me. Having a 50-room house and private airplanes and mega jets and boats and yachts and doing that at the expense of others, I don't consider that thriving. I call that extreme survival to the point where you're sick and broken.